Right, okay folks, welcome to another video. That was the year that was. Now you're thinking, what the bloody hell is that, Main Meister? If you're a regular to the channel, you've probably seen these in the past. What I used to do is I would pick a year, I would look at the news, I would look at the films, the biggest grossing films, the best selling music, and I would just play some video games that came out in that year. I did quite a few of these, but for whatever reason, probably most likely life kicking my arse, I've not done any for a long time, so I want to resurrect these. I want to resurrect this feature. So the year is 1984. Now, what was I doing in 1984? I would be, let me think, 17, yeah, 17 years old. I was still at school. I would be in fifth year in high school, doing my hires. I was 1 year into owning my Commodore 64, probably doing nothing else but playing games. I mean, I never actually started going to the pub until I was of legal age. Being quite small in stature, huge in personality obviously, I never went to the pub until I was actually legally able to, so I wasn't going to the pub in 1984 like lots of kids. I was firmly in my bedroom, joystick in hand, playing games on my C64. What else? Yeah, that was pretty much it. I was also working part-time in Woolco. When I wasn't at school, I was working Thursday night, Friday night and Saturday, and if you were lucky, because you got double time, I would work the occasional Sunday. So in the news, I've taken the sort of the main points that I remember. In the news, in January 1984, General Motors ended production of the Vauxhall Chevette after 9 years. Now that was actually one of my first ever cars, and it was a piece of shit. On the 13th of January, 6 people sadly died when Britain was battered by hurricane force winds. So that's not a new phenomenon. You know, we've been getting shit weather for a long time. On February the 1st, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Nigel Lawson, announces that after 13 years, the halfpenny will be demonetised and withdrawn from circulation. I think they should be doing that with 1 pences, 2 pences and 5 pences because they're utterly worthless. 7th to the 19th of February, Great Britain and Northern Ireland compete at the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo in Yugoslavia, and they won 1 gold medal. On the 14th of February, Torvill and Dean won a gold medal, so there you go, they're the only ones that won a medal for ice skating. 12th of March, the miners' strike begins in Pits. The National Union of Mine Workers against Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government, intent on free market reform of the nationalised industries, which includes plans for the closure of most of Britain's remaining coal pits. 27th of March, Starlight Express opens at the Apollo Theatre, the Apollo Victoria Theatre in London. On the 15th of April, Tommy Cooper collapses and dies on stage from a heart attack during a live television show, live from Her Majesty's, and he was only 63. I actually remember watching that, and yeah, we didn't realise, we thought it was part of the act, and I've watched it since. I wouldn't really recommend you watch it because it's actually quite depressing and not very nice to see, but yeah, I have to say I wasn't a big Tommy Cooper fan, but you know, died way too early. 17th of April, WPC Yvonne Fletcher is shot and killed by a secluded gunman during a siege outside the Libyan embassy in London, an event that came to be known as the 1984 Libyan embassy siege. 11 other people are also shot, but thankfully survived. 25th of April, Austin Rover launches its new Montego 4-door saloon, which replaces the Austin Ambassador in the Morris Ital. And it's derived from the Maestro hatchback. A 5-door estate version of the Montego is due later in the year. In May 2nd, the Liverpool International Garden Festival opens in Liverpool, funnily enough. 8th of May, the Thames Barrier, designed to protect London from floods, is opened by the Queen. 12th of May, Liverpool FC secure a third consecutive league title and the 15th in the club's history, despite being held to a 0-0 draw away at Notts County. 19th of May, Everton win the FA Cup, their first major trophy for 14 years, with a 2-0 victory over Watford in the final at Wembley Stadium. Goals are scored by, bloody hell, there's a thing you don't hear very often. The goals are scored by Andy Gray and Graham Sharp, both Scots. That's probably the last time a Scotsman actually scored a goal. Everton's last FA Cup triumph came in 1966, and they have now won the trophy 4 times. 23rd of May, 16 people are killed in the Abbeystead disaster caused by exploding methane gas. Don't remember hearing about that. 26th of May, the Football British Home Championship, which has been contested by the 4 home nations since 1884, witnesses its last game. Really, Northern Ireland won the trophy. I used to love that. I mean, I'm not a football fan, but I used to love the home championship, Scotland versus England. So that stopped in 1984, bloody hell. 30th of May, the Queen officially opens a new terminal at Birmingham International Airport. The terminal has been in use since the start of last month, replacing the original terminal that opened in 1939. Liverpool win the European Cup for the 4th time with a penalty shootout victory over AC Roma of Italy after a 1-1 draw in the final at the Olympic Stadium in Rome. Arthur Scargill is arrested and charged with obstruction at Orgreave. June the 20th, the biggest school examination shake-up in over 10 years announced, with O-level and CSE examinations to be replaced by new examination, the GCSE. The first GCSE course will begin in September 1986 and will be completed in the summer of 1988. 22nd of June, the inaugural Virgin Atlantic flight takes place. In June, British unemployment is at a record high of around 3.26 million, though a higher percentage of the nation's workforce were unemployed during the Great Depression some 50 years earlier. July the 4th, the government announces the abolition of dog licences. 7th of July, the 10th G7... Gene Simmons? Where did that one come from? The 10th G7 summit is held in London. 9th of July, a fire in the roof of York Minster, probably caused by an electrical storm, causes extensive damage which is expected to cost millions of pounds to repair. 12th of July, Robert Maxwell buys a Daily Mirror for $113.4 million. 28th of July to the 12th of August, Great Britain and Northern Ireland compete at the Olympics in Los Angeles and win 5 gold, 11 silver and 21 bronze medals, I should say. I think Daley Thompson won his medal in the decathlon. 11th of August, barefoot South African runner Zola Budd controversially granted the British citizenship earlier in the year collides with Mary Decker in the 3,000 metres final at the Olympics, neither finishing as medalists. 15th of September, the Princess of Wales gives birth to her second son, Harold. October the 9th, Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends is first broadcast on ITV, becoming one of the most successful children's TV programmes of all time since Postman Pat on the BBC 3 years earlier. 12th of October, the Provisional IRA attempts to assassinate the Conservative cabinet in the Brighton hotel bombing. Margaret Thatcher escapes unharmed, but MP Anthony Berry and 4 other people are killed, whilst Norman Tebbit is trapped among the rubble and his wife Margaret is seriously injured. 13th of October, I do remember this, darts player John Lowe achieves first televised 9-dart finish. It's mental now because they get them every other week. It's incredible how darts has improved the standard. 16th of October, The Bill, the long-running police drama, airs for the first time on ITV. It debuted last year as a pilot show called Wooden Top. When the last episode is shown in 2010, it will be the longest running police procedural in British television history. November the 20th, British Telecom shares go on sale in the biggest share issue ever. 2 million people, 5% of the adult population, buy shares, almost doubling the number of share owners in Britain. 25th November, 36 of Britain and Ireland's top pop musicians gather in a Notting Hill studio to form Band Aid and record the song Do They Know It's Christmas in order to raise money for famine relief in Ethiopia. Into December the 3rd, British Telecom is privatised, and on that same day the Band Aid charity single is released. 11th of December, Band Aid's Do They Know It's Christmas goes to the top of the UK singles charts. 16th of December even, Mikhail Gorbachev of the Soviet Union visits Britain. 22nd of December, Band Aid's charity single is this year's Christmas #1. And lastly, on Hogmanay, 31st of December, Rick Allen, drummer of Def Leppard, loses his left arm in a car accident when the A57 road at Snake Pass. So yeah, that is kind of the top news headlines. So let's take a wee look and see what the best or the biggest selling films were of 1984. Right, the 10th best selling grossing film of 1984 was Purple Rain, starring Prince. It was released on the 27th of July 1984. 9th place, released on the 30th of March of the same year, Romancing the Stone, with I think was it Kathleen Turner and Michael J. Fox, Michael Douglas. 8th place was Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. It was released on the 1st of June by Paramount Pictures. Number 7 was a Kevin Bacon film even, Footloose. It was released on the 17th of February. 6th place was Police Academy, released by Warner Brothers. Who was it? What was the name of the guy? Stephen... Oh God, I can't even remember his bloody name. He was in Three Men and a Baby as well, and he seemed to have... Steve Guttenberg, yeah. What happened to Steve Guttenberg? He just seems to have completely vanished. There again, possibly Police Academy killed his career, because it was pish. 5th best grossing film of 1984 was The Karate Kid, and that was released in the 22nd of June, and it brought in I should have told you actually, but it brought in $90 million. In 4th place was Beverly Hills Cop, released on the 5th of December, and it brought in $103 million. 3rd place was a film I went to see. When did I go to see it? I went to see it at Christmas 1984, and it was my first date with Carolyn until she dumped me 3 months later because she wanted to concentrate on her exams. That was her excuse. Anyway, yeah, Gremlins was released on the 8th of June 1984, and it grossed a whopping $148 million. In 2nd place, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, released on the 23rd of May 1984, and it grossed $179 million. And no surprise, in top position, grossing $220 million, was Ghostbusters, and it was released on the 8th of June 1984. Yeah, right, and top songs. The 10th best-selling song 1984 was Freedom by Wham. In 9th place, Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr. Oh, for God's sake. 8th position, Jesus. Agadoo by Black Lace. Yeah, less said about that the better. Number 7, now I'm actually surprised. I actually had to double check this. I thought this came out earlier, but I'm not going to argue with Wikipedia. The 7th best top selling song of 1984 was Hello by Lionel Richie. Sixth place was another Wham song, and it was Last Christmas. And then, inverted commas, Everything She Wants. Never heard it called that before. 4th place by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Two Tribes. 3rd place, same group, Relax. In 2nd place, Stevie Wonder, I Just Called to Say I Love You. And as I told you earlier on, the best-selling single of 1984 was Do They Know It's Christmas by Band Aid. So yeah, there you go. Now back in the day, there was a thing called the Golden Joystick Awards. This was a thing that, I don't think it appeared, it was never on TV or anything, but I mean, 1984 it was hosted by Jules Holland. Now they would award various awards to various games for different categories. So for the best programmer of the year, in runner-up position it was Mike Singleton, but the winner of that category was the Ultimate Team. Best arcade style game of the year, the runner-up was Boulder Dash, and the winner was Daley Thompson's Decathlon by Ocean Software. Best strategy game of the year, runner-up was Beachhead, and the winner was Lords of Midnight by Mike Singleton, I think. Yep. Best adventure game of the year, runner-up position, Eric the Viking. Was that based on the Monty Python film? I can't remember. I think we were certainly involved in it. And the winner was a game called Claymore Castle. Best original game of the year, runner-up position, nice to see them getting a runner-up position, was Do Ex Machina by Automata Software. And the winner of the best original game of the year, no surprise there when you hear the title, Elite. Software House of the Year, runner-up position was Beyond Software, and the Software House of the Year winner was Ultimate Play the Game. And the Game of the Year, you're going to guess who's going to bring the Game of the Year out. Game of the Year runner-up was Ghostbusters, and the winner was Nightlore by Ultimate Play the Game. Right, to finish off, we're going to take a quick look at the 10 best-selling video games in the United Kingdom. We'll do that in reverse order. So the 10th best-selling game of 1984 was a game programmed by Matthew Smith, and it was released by Software Projects, and it was Manic Miner. Now I've probably told this small fib. This version was not programmed by Matthew Smith. This was the Commodore 64 version, which was programmed by somebody else, but obviously based on the original. In 9th place, by Ultimate Play the Game, was a shmup on the Spectrum, and it's a game I do enjoy, and it was Jetpack. Yeah, great game, really good arcade game, and even now it still stands up really well. It's still great fun to play. In 8th place, from a company called Digital Integration, was a game called Night Gunner, and it's classed as a shoot 'em up, I suppose it is. Yeah, you've got to shoot planes and what have you. Wasn't a game I ever played at all. Again, this was on the Spectrum. The only game that appears in this list was Manic Miner in 10th place. Every other game from 9 to 1 was on the Spectrum. So yeah, that was Night Gunner. Back to Ultimate Play the Game in 7th place, best-selling game. It was Saber Wolf. That was, I was going to say it was their first action adventure. That's not technically true because Attic Attack did come out before that. I was never a fan of Saber Wolf, I have to say. It did come out in the C64. I just found it quite dull to play, but Spectrum owners seem to love it. And the 6th best-selling game was from a company called Ocean Software, and it was actually an arcade conversion. I think it was one of the first arcade conversions ever for a home system, and it was Hunchback, which was based on a game, was it by Century, I think it was, that released it. Loved Hunchback, one of the earliest games I got to play on the C64. Again, it was the Spectrum one that sold really well. So yeah, good little fun game, quite simplistic but good fun. And the fifth best-selling title of 1984, again on the Spectrum, was by Scion, and it was Checkered Flag. Looking at the game now, it does look extremely clunky. I mean, the tyres turning round, it does look basic as hell. But yeah, this was a favourite, a game that you always saw loaded up on Spectrums throughout various shops. They always had this game running because it did look quite impressive for the time. It doesn't look that good now, but you know, hey ho, it's 1984. And in fourth place, once again, back to Ultimate Play the game, and I have mentioned this game, it is Attic Attack. This is an absolute stonking action adventure, brilliant game. Sadly, there was never a C64 version released until fairly recently, folks. You can get a cracking version, it came out about maybe 3 years ago. Anyway, we're not talking about that one. But yeah, this is an absolute vintage slice, or classic slice, of Spectrum game, and in my opinion it's one of the best Spectrum games ever. It's just got everything, the graphics, the sound is quintessentially Spectrum. So yeah, that's Attic Attack, brilliant game. And the third best selling game, I've mentioned them earlier on, it was a game by Matthew Smith, and it was released originally on the Bug Bite label, and it's Manic Miner. This is a fantastic game. It was so well programmed. You know, the attention to detail was just utterly sublime, and it's a game that I still do play to this day. And if I'm ever going to play it, I'll always play the Spectrum version. And in second place now, I've got to say I'm quite surprised at this. Maybe just because it's not a game I would ever play. And again, it's by Digital Integration, and it's a Fighter Pilot. It's a flight simulator. Very early one, but obviously it must have been doing something right because that was in second place. And the number one best-selling video game in the United Kingdom in 1984 was Jet Set Willy. Again, programmed by Matthew Smith, and it was released under Software Projects. Now, apparently, and I've seen a couple of interviews, apparently Matthew Smith never got a single penny for this game, which, if that is true, then there is something far wrong. At least there was something far wrong with the software industry. Number one bestseller, and the guy that wrote the game never got a penny for it. I don't know how true that is, but yeah, if it is true, then that is awful. Not a fan of the game at all. Like I said, I love Manic Miner. I could play that all day, but Jet Set Willy wasn't a game I liked. It was bugged to hell. I can't remember what it was called. There was a famous bug which meant when you die, you just instantly lost all your lives. So anyway, that is it, folks. That was the year that was 1984. Please let me know what you think of this video. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not. If you don't enjoy it, tell me why. If it's shite, whatever, I don't mind. I can take it. If you do enjoy it, again, let me know, and I will endeavour to make another one. So anyway, guys, until next time, as always, thank you very much for watching.